Welcome to the end times prophecies, motherfucker. Where you see these motherfuckers manifesting what was written in your books just for the explicit purpose of telling you how to get free. And all you want to do is stay trapped in your bondage and keep as many people trapped with you that follow that false narrative bullshit that these secret societies has pushed out as information. Look, 99% of the world's population was illiterate before 1900. Do the math. Who was doing the writing? If 99% of the world's population was illiterate before 1900, who was doing all the writing? The 1%, the secret societies, the guilds, the brotherhoods, right? And who was running the governments back then? If 99% of the people was illiterate, who was running the government? Right? 1%, the secret societies, the guilds. Y'all motherfuckers kill me with this shit. Look, all of the historical texts through the universities had to be approved by one of the secret societies or it wouldn't be accessible to the public. All of the texts that came to us through university had to be approved by a secret society to reach the people. Who was it that decided to put slave narratives written by educated slaves in a book? Think about that shit for a minute. In the time of so-called slavery in these slave narratives, when 99% of the world's population was illiterate, right? Who was writing this fucking perfect English, perfect French, perfect whatever, Arabic? Who was writing this shit if only the 1% was readers and writers? Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this shit. Look, these motherfuckers don't be knowing that I really do know what I'm talking about, and they want to assume that I don't. What's going to be the shocker is when all of the people that you thought was the power wielders come ass kissing. They don't got to kiss my ass because they can't get shit from me. Everything got to come through Big Mama. All of these motherfuckers y'all think heavy hitters. I don't care if they celebrities, if they motherfucking businessmen, if they politicians, they gonna all come ass kissing if they ain't executed to Big Mama. And that includes your chief. If you think that if you think you outdoor and native, right? If you think you outdoor and native, when this all of this shit said and done, whoever you claim your chief is, watch who that motherfucker go give his honors to. Big Mama. Why you think we playing? And y'all thinking this shit is a game or this is some shit that some nigga just came out of nowhere talking about we was already here and we didn't come from overseas and all this shit. Wait until this shit come out into the mainstream. Right now we still underground. Why we still underground? It's not that we hadn't, because we doing everything according to the ancestral mandates by the book that they gave us called the Book of Life. This is called the redemption process, and we redeeming all of the righteous. And all you motherfucking $1.25 Indians on these motherfuckers who claim that we don't know what we talking about, when it's all said and done, y'all motherfuckers gonna have to come to us to be authorized to walk this goddamn land. Otherwise, you're gonna get treated like the enemy, rounded up with the enemy, and disposed of like the enemy. Right? This motherfucker on here talking about some CIA knowing he a whole agent. He know he a whole agent. He ain't even $5 Indian. He $1.25 Indian. All of the requests, when I open it up, they don't even show. Yeah. Look, I don't know who this nigga is. Call himself indigenous outside or outside and indigenous or naked and free or whatever the fuck his name is. But when it come time to scout motherfuckers, I'm going to get that nigga scout. Personally. It's a couple of these motherfuckers who scalps I'm personally coming to get. And I'm coming with 1,000 GDs, 1,000 Crips, 1,000 Bloods, 1,000 Vice Lords, 1,000 Cholos, 1,000 motherfucking MS-13, 1,000 Hells Angels. I'm getting 1,000 just for my personal preference from every motherfucker that's supposed to be here. They all gonna give me 1,000 motherfuckers, and I'm coming to get all you niggas scalps. I'm not just taking off the top of your head. This time I'm snatching your face off so we can see it. And I ain't killing you. I ain't gonna kill you. I'm gonna let you walk around faceless. Like you wanna be on social media talking that bullshit. Don't believe that it ain't a motherfucker right now because I said that. There's somewhere close to you watching every motherfucking move you make from this point forward. Cause motherfucker, when I say, where is that motherfucker was talking that shit? If I don't come to your motherfucking door to get you, they gonna bring you to mine. And then we gonna have this discussion. Are you interfering with the redemption process of the righteous tribes that's rightfully on the land by the right blood and by right? So all of this righteous shit gonna knock your ass back to the left. Remember that when I told you that. See, somebody gotta bump these niggas straight. It's just that right now, my chief say, Rod, we brain banging. Remember, we ain't gang banging. But that don't mean that it ain't gonna be some of these motherfuckers that we ain't gonna have to go out. I'm skinning niggas' backs. And then I'm packing them with salt and lighter fluid, and I'm striking the goddamn match. And if they live, they live. I'm like Drago and Rocky. If he dies, he dies. But you're going to get this work. You're going to get this work one way or another. You can get it through education, or you can get it through motherfucking demonstration. If I was you, I would take the educational work, because the demonstrational work that's where I'm good. I'm not good at this shit. I'm not good at this tongue wrestling shit. I'm good at knocking you motherfuckers out. That's what I'm good at. And
okay, I can't show myself because I just can't finally get to you, Rod Hayes. I got so many questions. First of all, just want to let you know, love you, love the work you do. I'm not a big studier, so I don't know all the stuff that you talk about in depth, but it definitely resonates with my spirit. And I'm one of Larry's girls. I'm from your tribe here in Chicago.
girl,
Yes, I am.
okay, well,
So
let's see if we can answer some of your questions.
Okay, so one of my biggest questions was about this whole tribal thing, about the land. How do we reclaim our land?
We in the process right now. The only hold up right now is we don't have enough of the tribes aware.
Okay.
When we get to the point where it's enough of the tribes that's aware of who they are and that they have elders that's actively restoring our birthright, then you'll see it play out physically. But in the meantime, we have to educate in public as many as possible to get enough of us aware. Because all of us know what we call Larry, Chief, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What the Stones call Angel Bay, Chief, right?
Yes.
This is an accident?
No, not at all.
You don't know who we calling Chief?
It's like, isn't that something? I had no idea when I was calling him Chief what I was calling him Chief for a long time ago. A long time ago. I had no idea what was going on. No idea when we was out there, doing that little thing.
You know where I go.
I know now. So with that, even though we in this structural system, it seems like it got a really tight grip on the people in their minds. So does that have anything do we have to do this politically? Once we release the once the chiefs get released?
When they finally get relieved, Larry, he has to give a speech because he had to report to. He don't got to report to like me. He got to report to the people, to the clans. When he
Do you know how far-fetched it sound, brother? It sounds so far-fetched, but this is what's got to happen.
This is the culture. Larry is the chairman, right?
Absolutely.
The chairman of what?
Of the organization.
That's just our organization. He's the chairman of the All Is One organization.
The All Is One.
Remember 74, the new creed?
Yes. The blueprint, the master blueprint.
Okay, remember the treaty signed in Pontiac, Illinois?
I'm not quite familiar with that.
It ain't hard to find. Look it up online. It was a peace treaty, and it was the LSD, United Front, Lord Stones and Disciples.
United Peace Organization.
No. It's Lord Stones and Disciples back then.
Okay.
Had came together in order to clean up the streets, restore the tribal structure, restore the tribal dignity back to the people. Well, what happened is we got usurped by some people that look like us, pretending to be us.
Yes,
but it wasn't us.
I know. I know that.
As the chairman of the board, the final report would be the equivalent of the president giving the State of the State address. Larry's responsibility entails him, when it's over with, he have to give a State of the Tribes address. He have to show you. So that's his job. And then the conjure side, which falls under the domain of the priests, that has to be explained by Malachi York.
Wow.
As the Yamasi chief, he have to explain the conjure wars and the sorcery, because that's his specialty in his field. Not religious, but spiritual practice. He is the highest priest on the planet right now. He holds the Melchizedek seat, and he holds the seat of the Alkupt, and he holds the Zoser seat of priests. So when it's all the same seat, it's just different name for different culture.
Okay.
And over here, it's the Tahuti seat is the priest. Tahuti, right. So the Tahuti is the Trismegistus, or the thrice great king, statesman, right? And family man, but they say king, statesman, and magician.
So we've been tricked.
Yeah. This was all a big game that was played for us we had a responsibility. Go back to when Bill Cosby went on Oprah Winfrey about a controversial statement he made. And you'll see at the beginning of the controversial statement, he say, we are not upholding our end of our agreement in this thing. What are you talking about?
I don't know. We don't know nothing about an agreement.
He's talking about the 200 years George Washington challenge to educate ourselves out of the condition. And this is why Martin couldn't go to war. That's why Garvey couldn't go to war.
Okay.
They was privy to enough information to know that whatever we do, if we fight these people and start massive bloodshed, it resets.
So what we saying in essence is, spiritually, all our cheese was put in place for this to take place.
Yeah.
But these powers that were manipulated so bad, and they scattered us so much, and they tore everything apart, so we could not redeem ourselves earlier than we needed to.
Right. Because Noble Drew Ali knew what was going on when he got the information from the more Zionist Jews, but he couldn't do nothing about it. Because the blood of the righteous shall not be spilled in vain. And so they was using the blood conjurers and that's what was keeping us trapped, because the human becomes an angel repellent when he's under stress.
The human becomes an angel repellent.
Yep.
When it's under stress. Whoa.
Your adrenaline response.
Whoa.
Look, your adrenaline response puts off a pheromone. You can't consciously smell it, but those who we call the angels, which is actually our higher consciousness self, when you in that state, they can't help you until you calm yourself. They call that finding your center.
Okay.
Once you find your center, then one of the elders that's in your bloodline will incarnate in you as a walking in, but it's really just your higher self overtaking your ego self. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about it in The Souls of Black Folks in the chapter called The Warring Soul.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get that and read that. That makes perfect sense. That's the reason why now we're changing our vibrations.
Yeah.
Many of us are going higher.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Well, you got to remember, they had to keep us, because of who we are, in a perpetual state of stress.
Yes. That's what we at. That's what most of our people at, in a perpetual state of stress, anger, violent, everything that's like just distress.
Now look.
Yes, that makes sense.
The root to stress, right? Other things you mentioned, danger makes you become violent as a response. That's because you're under stress.
Okay.
Right?
That makes so much sense.
Look, fear will also make you resort to violence because you are under stress.
Okay, fear is what keeps us in a state of competition. We don't go higher and really go after the real culprits. We'd rather go after each other.
Yeah, that's what they call it. It's the barnyard syndrome.
The barnyard syndrome?
Yeah. It's the dog that can whip all the dogs in the yard, but he can't beat no dog outside his barnyard.
Oh, dang. Where that come from? What can I, get that knowledge?
That's Southern lingo.
Okay.
It's just talking to the people in the South. See, our roots come from the South.
Okay. My people from the South, I never heard of it, but it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
So we become have all this bravado with each other because we're using each other to try to train ourselves to overcome the obstacle when we lead a farm. Some of us can beat everybody on the farm, but can't beat nobody when he leads. Right? So now, we see this play out in chicken fighting and dog fighting that we used to do years ago, right? And
yes.
You got a dog. If you bring a dog on his property and they're the same size, he's not gonna lose. But that same motherfucker, you take him off his land, he can't win a fight. Right? That's why you have in sports home field advantage.
Okay. That makes sense about the guys on the block.
Like you have a team that might go undefeated at home, and then they might have a 50-50 road record.
Wow, you dropping knowledge. This psychological warfare. Dang.
Yeah, it's sociology used to influence the psychology.
Brother.
It's the technical tools to control a slave system. You have to know how people move socially, which is sociology, in order to override the individual's psychology.
Okay.
Right? So they give us alternative outlets to our stress that we have no control over. We can't control the football game. We can't control the boxing match. We can't control whatever we see on that idiot box. We don't have any control over it. But because the guy that they told us was the hero won, then we get to say, oh, shit, I was close call. No, it wasn't. At no time was the hero of the movie ever in danger. Because they can't make a sequel if they kill him off.
Absolutely not.
So
how do we get higher, right?
Well, we start off, you gotta start grounding your energy. Trees in the earth is the most stable stabilizers of energy we know of.
Mm-hmm.
Start lean your back against the tree, take your shoes off, sit there and read a book. You grounding your balance. You're bringing balance back to the self with the grounding process, and now you're opening up the knowledge reservoir by actively using it while you ground it out. It gives you a stronger grasp of everything you experiencing, and you are experiencing in real time what you read.
Oh wow,
This is
that makes perfect sense.
right. This is the purpose of reading. People think reading is for knowledge. It's not. It's weightlifting for the brain.
Well, I can listen to you all day, right?
And then it's also showing you, if you see it from that way, this guy that wrote this book see it from this way. Now you have a comparative analysis from how you originally seen it versus how somebody else seen it. And the more different perspectives you can get looking at the problem, the more different ways you get to look at the problem. And the solution is always in the problem. Get rid of the enemy without, and the enemy within can do you no harm. In other words,
absolutely
extract the solution from the problem, and the problem is not even there to be a concern about.
Okay. Unbothered, being unbothered.
Unbothered as a motherfucker. I call it the fucking key, right? Okay. I tell them I'm going through the storms of life, singing and dancing in the motherfucking rain.
Okay.
Right?
Oh my God. Right. Nice.
So Heru in the Flesh said you got to get into the God mind. Let me give you a little idea of what I'm talking about. In a Christian doctrine, they say, let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus. Well, how in the fuck do you do that?
Right. Right.
You use the faculty of imagination, and you use the art and science of self-talk. You ask yourself to show yourself, if God was looking at this problem, what would he see?
This is good stuff, y'all. We share this, Joy.
Look, so if you can't lie to you.
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna know you lying, right?
And I'm one of Larry's girls, so we can't lie. I can't lie to myself because I know what's better. I know the truth.
Right, but even if you tried to lie to yourself, you're gonna know you lying.
Absolutely.
Which is gonna automatically expose the lie. So when you use self-talk and you send your higher self to go look at something from God's perspective, your higher self can't come back and say this is what it looked like if it don't look like that, because you gonna know he lying. Because it's you. You see, we supposed to knew this when we was 4 years old, but didn't nobody tell us.
Wow. You can't lie to yourself.
You can't lie to yourself. You're gonna know you lying.
Absolutely. And righteous endeavors.
Any and all righteous endeavors.
Absolutely. This is some good stuff, Rod. This is some good stuff. I finally got you. Oh my goodness. And I got a couple of lessons.
The BOS to the SOS. Each one teach one.
Oh, we not SOS no more. Wait a minute, bro. Let me tell you. We juggling, not struggling. Okay? We not struggling no more. We juggling.
Hey, look. We flipping codes and cracking motherfucking doors.
Right. The struggle is over. We juggling this thing. We not struggling. So let's not lie to ourselves.
Yeah. Remember, if you try to lie to yourself, if you try to lie to yourself, then this is why I don't have a lot of respect for them people that come over here and try to get their opinions about what I'm talking about. Because they know in their heart of hearts, they lying to their goddamn self before they wrote that shit on my page. They knew they was lying to themselves when they wrote that shit on my page.
Just drop the bar. Just drop the bar. That is a bar. They lying to themselves. They lying to themselves. Hey, we can't lie to ourselves no more. It's over with.
All you got to look. The old saying is first to thine own self.
Be true. Right.
Why did it tell you that? Because sociologically, The social juggernaut will convince you to disregard your own psychology in order to convince you you successfully lying to yourself, and all the time you still know you lying.
Oh my God, Rod, you got to put that on paper.
That's them
You
going
gotta
along.
jot that down.
That's them going along to get along ass niggas.
Ooh, wait. Man, that's truth right there. That is absolute truth.
If you ask a
And
Cobra Stone over there, if you ask a Cobra Stone who they chief, they gonna say Mickey Caldwell. He ain't even here no more in the flesh.
whoa,
But
wow.
his spirit
Who would
walking
be
with Angel Bay.
okay? The spirit walking with Angel Bay.
They still can see him.
Okay.
So they can't lie to themselves as if Mickey Caldwell never existed. They still acknowledge him. No guy that you couldn't walk up to and have a conversation with when he was in the street. Anybody out there in the West, red or blue, no, they could walk up to Tukey and have a whole conversation with him. You probably wasn't gonna get too close if he was wearing red, but if you caught him somewhere by himself, he talked to you. He's never been a straight asshole. Right? He was just a hard knock because he have to wake up the two biggest West Coast clans. You see what Garvey had all these people focusing their attention on the West Coast. We have to wake them up. Them the soldiers we need. We need them motherfucking 40-ounce drinking, weightlifting in the driveway ass motherfuckers to come up out that driveway and not fight each other. We don't know how to do that yet. Right, in the 60s and the 70s, because they just waking up. They still got crust in their eyes doing this shit. Like, what the hit him? And they just swinging wild. I call it the invisible man syndrome. We all sitting in the room, invisible man walking around slapping everybody. Everybody hitting the motherfucker next to him. Now we all fighting here, the invisible man laughing his way out the door. We ain't never seen him in there. Because he looked just like us, but we couldn't tell. But now that we know a strategy, that's the key to identifying the enemy. If you don't know what he's using against you, you can't defend yourself against it.
And Rod, speaking about that, like you just always call them like the dirty Moors, and you was like you had said like they can really be anybody. I was wondering like, can these be people like in your family? Because I feel like
it's a book by Malachi York called "Are There Black Devils?" It's another one he got called "We See You Too, Black Devil," right? Then he have another one about the demon seed. It got a picture of a white baby and a black baby on it, or a red baby and a white baby, or something like that on the cover of it. But when you read that book, he tell you these motherfuckers is born in our families. We ain't married to these motherfuckers. Some of us sleeping with the enemy and don't even know it. And we all thinking because they look like us, they not the enemy. And our ancestors left us messages. And they said, if you get rid of the enemy within, the enemy without cannot harm you. Why in the fuck did they tell us that? There's an internal enemy. The only way I can find him is if I have to go internal to self, make sure I ain't my own enemy first. That means I got to go purge my ego. Right? Once I do that, now I'm starting saying, hey, wait, this motherfucking ego tripping ass motherfucker ain't one of us. Where he come from? Right? I got a friend, when I first met him, I was asking this who's on the yard in the prison. I'm like, who is this nigga? Where he come from? He ain't one of us. And they was like, what you talking about? I said, that nigga not from America. I don't know where that nigga from. He not from fucking America. And they laughing, they cracking up, laughing. So one of the dudes sitting at the table, go get him. Come here, Fuddy. He come over. I said, man, you ain't from America, is you? He said, I grew up here, but we from Sierra Leone. I said, I told you motherfuckers, he ain't one of us. I know a motherfucker ain't us when I see him. And they're like, how you know? I said, I don't know. I just can tell. He different. He's fundamentally different than us. I met people from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Algeria, from Morocco, Tunis, Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, South Africa, from the Congo. Ain't never had one of them say, yeah, our ancestors sent y'all over here. I never heard that one time from none of them. They all tell me the same thing. What think you from Africa? Nigga, you from over here. Now, idiots that come over here, they follow the narrative they give them in the immigration class that we came over on slave ships. But their ancestors over there does not corroborate that bullshit. This is why it's so important when Garvey said create the confraternity, the global brotherhood of the original clans, right? Now Nipsey come along from Eritrea. Everybody from from Crenshaw, no, Nipsey not one of us. He from somewhere else. They don't know where he from, but they know he ain't from over here. But they know he ain't the enemy too. How the fuck y'all know this nigga ain't the enemy when y'all know he ain't from over here? He don't move like the enemy. He instead of going to war with a motherfucker with a different color on, he tell you, hey brother, straighten up the New York act, man. We ain't gotta be out here beefing. Who does that in the middle of gangbanging? He was always different. I didn't realize until recently, after his extraction that he was reincarnated Haile Selassie. So now my thing is, hold on, I was suspect of Haile Selassie. Malachi wrote a book called Is Haile Selassie the Christ, and he give his bloodline. And he say, see, he is not a Jew. He is not a descendant of the Jews, right? So he's telling us in the book, the bloodline of Selassie is an organic earth being that's not from the tribes that we fighting, but he fighting the same fucking enemy, right? So once we studied Haile Selassie, it took us back to what Garvey said, African root science, the science of ether, the ether utopia of the Western Ethiopia, which is today modern day Saharan desert Africa, right? Sub-Saharan Africa was called Zululand or Swaziland. The Zulu literally mean the people that walk from the sky, skywalkers, right? And so they was the dominant tribe of those lands, and they job, the Watusi, the Zulu, the Dinka, the Mandingo, all these tribes are supposed to be there to protect the little people from the bullying of the shit that was about to go down. So the little people are the San, the Twa, the Pygmy, and some subsets of Bantu, right? So the language began to be broke up over there. The root language is what they call the Niger-Condorfian stock, the linguistics. So when you study the linguistics, it's telling you how the tribes is divided up by language. Then when you study genetics, you see how the tribes is protectorates of other tribes. So you got some tribes, they're supposed to be what we call farmer tribes, right? And they supposed to feed the warrior tribes. The warrior tribes are supposed to protect the farmer tribes. So this is probably how you reach the balance. When they come over, the first thing they do is they catch us farming, they kill us. And then they put a pink motherfucker in the field and he dropped dead in 2 days. So now they can't kill us. They can't use the pink people because the pink people can't handle the conditions of our land because they're not from here. It's the same problem they ran into in Africa. They end up, King Leopold sent Cecil Rhodes to settle the Congo. And they slaughtered 30 million Congolese people when they went. They deforested the same way they did over here. And then they turned around and hired motherfuckers over there to do it. Right? And nobody was none the wiser to what was going on because the clans had fell into what you call disarray. The leadership was took out first. They always have to take the leaders out first. Get rid of the leaders. Now you got a whole bunch of misleaders trying to fight for a position of power. And if you offer them a strategic advantage over somebody they fighting, you become their ally, which become the detriment to both sides because these motherfuckers is not just trying to conquer them. They trying to conquer your ass too. Now, they did the same thing to us. They had motherfucking Apaches fighting Tomahawk and Choctaw and Cherokee. They had us fighting each other over here for a long time. We didn't know what was going on. Then one day, Noble Lee infiltrated something called the Moorish Zionist Temple and came out and said, hold up, this ain't us. Who is these motherfuckers? David Walker wrote about it before him. There's some strangers on the land, man. Who the fuck is these people? Then, this is what was out cold. The melanated ones that look like us would pretend to be slaves to the pale slave that they brought over in our presence to confuse us. That was the home run right there. That was the height of theatrical performance. They dressing down, taking off their Quaker clothes, putting on sackcloth so they can look like they struggling. Remember, I know your works in your poverty, but you rich. You faking ass motherfucker acting like you ain't got no money. And all the time, you in the community undercutting us and tearing us down.
Oh my gosh, Uncle Rod. So like, you be talking about like the town that I moved to a different town, but like the town that I grew up in, I still go there all the time. And we have a female mayor. She's a black woman. And I was telling like my boyfriend, like I be telling him all the time, like I feel like, you know, our town could get what you be talking about, like with the FEMA stuff, like rolling. But I feel like, because I feel like there is awareness, but I feel like nobody really knows like what to do yet. And I feel like too, it is still a lot of like the dirty moors, like, because my boyfriend, he worked like in our, like, we got like a public works like in our town. And it's like, yeah, like, okay, you know what that is. So like, he was a part of that. And he was like, you know, they would be like gossiping and shit like in there. So like, he was like, basically, he found out that, our mayor is with a man or whatever, and he's a black man, but like he was saying like he kind of be like trying to undermine her or like put like stuff in her head to like basically make the wrong decisions for our town, because like he's also like I think like an attorney or some other like thing in the community. So like she trusts him, I guess, and like he was saying like he kind of be like leading her astray or trying to, and I was just like I don't know, like that was just so like I feel like that's so crazy because it really do be like anybody. But that was also like a question that I had, like how do you even get past that? Like how do you think? I feel like it's kind of what you were saying, just more like the general awareness. But I don't know, I've been wondering
we was using $5 Indians to put them on notice and serve eviction notices. Turnabout is fair play. The same motherfucker way they use pale faces to pretend that they ain't the ones behind this shit. We sent the same motherfuckers back to them to tell them to get off our shit.
That's what they do.
Now, the most critical city to put on notice was Atlanta. That's because of the Trail of Tears and Andrew Jackson. Everything that came after that is on notice. Atlanta being put on notice. Notice to agent is notice to principal. By putting Atlanta on notice, everybody that came across that Appalachian Mountains is already on notice. So you don't have to go every city. You got to get the key cities, right? In certain places, we've sent in $5 Indians to put people on notice because our people so traumatized from the Conjure War, we freeze under confronting these people now. We don't know what to do. Cancel the fucking contract. Abandon the fraud and cancel the contract. That's the only remedy in law. When the fraud is discovered, the only remedy is the abandonment defense. If you discover the fraud and you say, well, I'm going to wait 2 days, you've been in that fraud for 2 days actively participating, knowing full well you participating in the fraud. That make you the same guilty as the motherfucker committing the fraud because now you are what's called a party to the crime. But in the abandonment defense, hold up, this ain't right. I'm deuces. I ain't participating in that fuckery. And you leave. And they gone home with the fraud. They not going to stop the fraud because we walk away from it. They ain't going to stop the fraud until it's enough of us walk away from it that it doesn't work no more. And we pretty much there. We've been using $5 Indians the same way they used them when they came over here. We've been running them motherfuckers right up their ass. And now they don't know what to do. Because the same motherfuckers they used to oppress us is breaking us free because of the trauma we went through we not psychologically equipped to stand up to the man. So don't worry about it. I'm psychologically equipped for that shit. I'll run up in that motherfucker and snatch him up off the bench from behind the counter at the police. I don't give a fuck. But my chief told me I'm brain banging and I don't have to like this shit. I'm just good at it. You got anything else before I take another call, sweetie?
I did have really one last thing, and it was kind of off of what I was talking about. It was really about the kids. I recently started like working. I don't have like any background with like kids at all, and low key like growing up like from like the relationship that I had like with my mom and my younger brothers for a while. I did not like children. Like I didn't want to have kids, nothing like that. But like in like the middle of high school, I don't know, something I just switched, and like I just love children. Like, oh my gosh, I like how you be coming about the kids. That's how I be coming about the kids. Like anybody's kids. I don't even care if I don't know you. Like, but I started working at this school recently, just like as a job, and that ringing in the ears that you be talking about, like I would get that at home sometimes, but it hadn't been happening for a while. And then once I started working like at the school, I would be sitting in the classroom like with the kids, and I'm an aide, so like I just sit with them like and help with the teacher really.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be journaling and stuff like I'd be journaling just like in my book and stuff, and I would just have that ringing like in my ears, like, and it would be kind of like piercing, but a very low volume, and then it would kind of go away. But I noticed it really only happens when I'm at the school with the kids, and also since I started working there, like everybody's just been like, you're amazing with the kids, like you should do this like as your job, like. But I be telling them like I couldn't work like as an actual teacher, like, and what we have set up right now as a school, like I would need us to have that new system set in place before I could do some shit like that. Because like I feel like the school systems that we have now is really just like mini prison systems. Like the way that they set up is really military.
It is
like just so it's not meant for.
I go back to we never had schools before. Schools and prisons is the newest social things on our land. We didn't have schools. We used to learn in Big Mama's kitchen, on Big Papa's barn. We had different method of teaching. It was, if you read Neely Fuller, he called it the open air method. The open air method is way more effective in teaching our children than the four walls method. The four walls method is school, which comes from the Yiddish word shul, which comes from the Hebrew word sheol. Yeah.
That shit is hell for them kids. And I'm like, I'm not to cut you off, but as an adult, like the other adults be in there and they'll be like, yeah, are you having a rough day? Or like, and I'm just like, why did y'all pick this job? Like y'all hate these kids, really.
It ain't the kid.
And I'm like, why do y'all have this job? Like I really love them kids, and don't get me wrong, some of them kids, you know, you do need a little extra time with them, but I feel like it's hell exactly that. So like the way that it's set up, they can't get that one-on-one care that they really need to help them. It's just like, this is a problem child and they just need to be dealt with, or their parents need to deal with them. And I'm like, that's not, I don't know. That really bothers me. And I'm like, I don't know. That really
Elijah Muhammad's description of a black devil is an original man who acts other than himself. Right? So when you're looking at what he's saying, the school system teaches you to act like you from Europe. Why the fuck I want to act like I'm from Europe when I'm from over here? Right? Why do I want to wear buckle heels when I'm more comfortable wearing moccasins? That make this shit make sense. So if we become devil by behaving other than our true self, their school system teaches us how to behave like they want their children to behave. This is why they are on what they call fast forward to the.
Kids don't even need all that.
Hell, they shouldn't even be talking about nothing sexual until right before puberty. They don't need sex education in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. What the fuck wrong with you people? They want to know about, boys want to know about cars and trucks and dogs and shit in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Girls want to know about how to do my hair, teach me how to make my makeup on, put my fingernails on, but they ain't thinking about fucking. Right? Girls is trying to learn how to primp so they'll know how to be pretty when they older. Boys want to learn how to, do masculine release things. They want to ride in the rodeo and shit. They got us thinking that that's a pale man. I mean, we invented that shit. Look, the Apaches was the first ones that used to do what they call underbelly riding in war. They slide around that horse. You won't even know that the horse is coming. Got people on them because they under the fucking horse, riding him from underbelly. How in the fuck do you do that? Right? But they had that shit to a science. And now they telling us that Buffalo Bill Cody, who really ain't that guy they be showing us the pictures of, he really looked more like the picture of Bass Reeves than the picture that they showing us of Buffalo Bill. But okay, you want to whitewash history, go ahead, whitewash history. But when you find out the baddest motherfucking horsemen that ever trained horses, break horses, they all look like us. They called us cowboy because they didn't want to call us man. Hey, boy, go fetch my cow. What? How we going to get the cow if we ain't riding the fucking horse? We ain't gonna run that motherfucker down on our feet, right? And I was listening to Dick Gregory talking about how he scolded Bob Marley about that song Buffalo Soldier. Is they chief, and this is why Cobra Stones fall under the Peace Stone Nation.
Okay.
As long as Angel Bay here, they chief walked spiritually with him, and this is why how they create their alliances.
Okay. Make perfect sense. Can't get somewhere.
Look, I'm a GD. I was born into this. My mama a Vice Lord.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter a Peace Stone.
Oh, wow.
But
we
here go the
family.
kicker. Just like in my family on my motherland, I'm the G stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm. We family.
Right? But on my fatherland, I'm a chip off the old block because his nickname was Fort.
Oh, wow. Fort. Oh, wow.
Fort
Oh, wow.
is, that's the trident of the Disciple Nation.
Oh, wow.
Remember, at one point, it only had one trident. We was, at that time, we was devil disciples.
The devil disciples?
We was devil disciples, right?
Wow. I don't know too much about that.
Yep. You just seen it. It's the little Casper devil with the pitchfork. That's the logo. That's the symbol. The little red devil with the pitchfork.
What? Yeah. I saw that. I probably saw a logo of that.
It's in the literature. All right, go back and look in the literature at the imagery. It's the little devil with the pitchfork, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the baby.
Oh.
I was born in '68.
Okay, question. Did the blueprint make it to the public domain yet?
I've been trying to get a copy of it, but Shorty Bible is, he a walking Hafiz for us. He got the whole blueprint dedicated to memory, to all the literature. Oh yeah. That's why he was accepted everywhere by all the folks, because he was recognized by the entire board. He hadn't memorized that shit by the time he was like 12.
Whoa.
That's what they used to call it. That's why he got his nickname, Shorty Bible. But he got videos on.
Wow, get out of here! I did not know that.
Yeah. So he got.
Yeah.
Wow. And he got videos on TikTok where he's going over. This is for our clan, but other clans can benefit from the information, and so we put it in the public domain.
Okay, that part.
Mm-hmm.
But the master blueprint is not in the public domain.
Not as far as I know.
Okay.
It was once in print.
Well, I know I got a piece of it.
It was once in print. It was the blue book, the GD blue book.
Mm.
And then
wow, we family.
Yeah. And whoever was printing it must either they got banned by the government, because I think it went out of print around the same time as the ghetto apparel went out of business.